Hey guys, how's it going? Today is Biden's inauguration, so you can see the market's going pretty crazy right now, which is why we decided to stay out. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at that shortly. Let me set up this room and then post up the links, and then we can get started. So let me check this out. Damn, look at that. Spike like 600 pips within a few seconds. Pretty crazy. So let me get these links out real quick. Once I get the links out, we can get started, and then I can answer any of your guys' questions. Get this finished right here. Hey, morning, Peter. Morning, Cassie. Morning, Wave. Yeah, if you guys saw US 30, it's moving pretty crazy right now. So this is why we decided to see out the market for a bit, because Biden's inauguration is today, and it's just moving like pretty crazy right now. Morning, Shawn. I'm going to post up these links real quick, guys, and we can get started. Let me just post this up real quick. We made it, right? Dejan, we made it to the end of Trump's presidency, basically. So I guess we just got to see how the market reacts to it, though. So let's see. Let's post this up real quick. Try doesn't show the little preview there. Okay, I think it's fine. Let me just send this out real quick, guys, and then we'll get started. Wow, that drop. It's starting to drop pretty heavy. So this might be the entry right here. Let me finish sending out this link real quick so that we can catch it. Morning, Alan. Let's see. Let's see if this closes out. If this closes out, we might be taking this entry right here. It's kind of a risky entry, but I think I might take it. Let me send this out real quick again. Couple more places for me to send out this link real quick, and then we can continue on with our analysis for the day. But yeah, if you guys are watching or following the news this morning, guys, today is Biden's inauguration, so you can see that US 30 is obviously moving pretty crazy this morning. And I'm sure a lot of the USD pairs are going to be moving crazy as well. So that's why we're taking it easy this morning. But, you know, obviously, if we see something good, we'll take it. Do you guys see that? We had a sell signal is way down here. Now it switched up to a bullish candle within a false signal. So we'll see how this plays out. All right, I think I posted it for the most places. Let me just make sure I get it on the Instagram real quick, and then we can get started with your guys' questions. Hey, morning, Victor. Morning, Dennis. Morning, Matt. Morning, Hope. Morning, Tam. Morning, everybody. So just like I was discussing with the guys prior, there's a lot going on today with the sorry, I'm just taking a screenshot of this. For some reason, the link didn't show up how it's supposed to. But like I was saying, due to Biden's inauguration, the market's going to be moving pretty erratic today. It's going to be moving back and forth. There's definitely going to be a lot of whipsaws. So, you know, with that said, we're going to be careful with our entries. So let me just get this link posted on here real quick on the Instagram. And I know most people aren't trading today. I mean, not just us at K2, but like people in general, they're just not trading because the market is pretty is going to be crazy. You know, everyone knows the market's going to be crazy today. But if we do see something good, we'll definitely take it. It's just we're not going to be tempted to take, you know, risky trades, obviously. Man, it's weird. On IG, they always take off that swipe button. Like some days there's a certain swipe button that I use, and other days they're not there. So weird. Okay, let me just. Man, all these swipe buttons are weird. I wish they would just keep the ones there. All right, whatever. I got that posted there, and that should be. All right, that should be good. All right, cool. So I think the Instagram's done. I posted the link up. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and then we will continue on with the analysis here. So let me see if there's anything here. Hey, morning, Dom. Morning, Indra. Talanji said no fib. What do you mean, Talanji? I don't know if you're asking a question or no fib. I don't use Fibonacci, so I'm not sure if you're on the wrong channel if you think I use Fibonacci's, but I never use Fibonacci's. So I'm not sure if that's your question or if you're trying to say something else, but I never use Fibonacci, so you're probably never going to see that here on this channel. Hey, John, morning. Dejan said, didn't it technically hit a past resistance? Yeah, I think it did. So let me open the K2SRs right here. Yeah, it actually just rejected off the resistance right here. So yeah, having that right there, we do have that strong resistance up there. So did reject off there. If we have a valid sell, then we'll probably take it. But until we do, we probably won't be taking it yet. Obviously, the high is going to be up here, but this is the current resistance right here. So it's tested it once, tested it twice, and this would be the third test right here. So this is pretty much what we'll be waiting for right here. We have about 4 minutes left on this candle for it to close. If it does close, we'll take the sell. If not, we'll hold on for the next signal that actually appears on here. So I think that's about it on this. We still have 3 minutes left, so I'll just set this up just in case. I'm not necessarily sure if this is going to close because the market's literally going to be whipsawing back and forth. I think until Biden's inauguration is done. So here's the updates for the inauguration. So he's set to be the president, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, so Biden attends mass. 23 minutes ago, Biden was at church. So probably in the next couple hours, he'll get inaugurated, and then we'll see how the market reacts to that. Let me see if there's anything else here before we continue. Hey, morning, Trell. Morning, David. Morning, John. Morning, Layla. Morning, Forbes. Morning, Kasim. Morning, everybody. Layla said my GJ closed in negative. Why? I mean, there's barely any drawdown here, Layla. So I'm not sure. Yours should have never, there's no reason it would close in the negative. If you share your, maybe you could share your trade and we could see what happened. But I mean, it was barely in any drawdown, if ever at all. So there's no way it should have closed in the negative. I don't know. Did anyone else's GJ close in negative? Because I'm looking at it right here. This is the same signal that I called earlier. It had little to no drawdown. So I don't know if you took the wrong trade, Layla. Did you take a sell instead of a buy? Or because if that was the case, then yeah, you took the wrong position and it would go the opposite way. But I don't see any other reason why you would have been in the closing the negative, because there's literally no drawdown here. Let's see, it only pulled back maybe a few pips. Let's see. Yeah, less than 10 pips. It was 9 pips max. So not sure what happened here with your position, Layla. If you share your trade, I can possibly take a look at it. But just looking at GJ here, it went straight to TP. So yeah, if you have any let's see. Yeah, no, Layla said she did a buy. Yeah, Layla, if you can screenshot your trade, we can take a look at it. But I mean, this is probably one of the cleanest trades we had in a while, where it just went straight to TP with no drawdown. So The only thing I think of is you margin called out. You probably took too big of a lot size and your account just automatically closed it after you opened it. That could be one of the reasons why it happened, but there was like no drawdown here. So I don't think that would even happen unless you were taking like a crazy lot size. Like if your account was like $1,000 and you were taking like a 10 lot, you know, or you took like a big 5 lot or something like that, then you might have gotten automatically closed out as soon as you entered. But I mean, this is literally impossible for it to hit a stop loss or close out negative. The only thing that you could have done differently was you probably took too big of a lot size. Your account couldn't handle it, and then your broker automatically closed it because you ate up all your margin. So if you could send me your trade, I can take a look at it. I have no idea like why you would have closed in the negative because it was straight to the positive after we entered. All right, let me check the other questions over here. Good morning, Larisha. Man, Larisha's been killing it. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Larisha, but she's been with K2 for a while and she's been sending me her profits. She's been super on point. Like the other day, she took US 30, right? Straight profit right here. So she made about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about a little over 1,000. She was like, yeah, those are her winnings from today. And she hit some other profits here too. So she's like on her way. I think she passed her FTMO, right? Yeah. So she basically did. Congrats, Larissa. I see she took US 30, UK 100, both of our trades. And she like locked in like 2,400 right there. And then yesterday she locked in another 1,000 something for US 30. So congrats on that, Larisha. I know you've been trying hard to pass that FTMO. You finally did it. So big congrats. You know, whenever anyone in K2 wins, guys, we always celebrate. It's like, it's not just when you're winning, it's like when everybody's winning, because, you know, we're all here for the same goal. You know, we all want to be profitable traders and we all want to be consistent. So Larisha, you know, good thing you never quit on trading because you finally passed your FTMO. So congrats to that. And, you know, I look forward to your funded process after. So let's see if there's anything else here. Layla said, I did a 1 lot and a 5 lot. What was your account size, Layla? I'm assuming you probably had like a small account, right? Because if that was the case, then you definitely got margin called out. And this is like the worst case to get margin called out because there's literally no drawdown. But I think you said you had a smaller account. But yeah, if you want to send a screenshot, send the screenshot of your account size as well. And then I can probably determine from that, because if that's the case where you took like you basically took a 1.5 lot since you took a standard and then you took a 0.50. If that was the case, then you probably got margin called out like as soon as you entered. Because if you did that with like $1,000 account, there's no way your account could handle that move. 2K. That's still not enough. Well, what's your broker, Layla? Because if you're trading on a US regulated broker like Forex.com, you need at least like 12K or 15K actually to trade a standard lot, just even a standard lot. And you took over that. So if you're trading a 1.5 lot size on a US regulated account, which means the leverage is like 1 to 20 or 1 to 50, then you get like for sure you got kicked out of that trade for margin call. Because yeah, you need like 50 times, like, well, depending on your leverage. So I'm not sure which account you were trading on, Layla. I'm assuming you're on Forex.com, right? Because last time we talked, you were on Forex.com. MT4 is a platform, but which broker are you using? So you can have any broker on MT4, but depends on which broker you're using, because if you're using Forex.com, you for sure got margin called out. You need at least like 15K to trade a standard lot. So I'll show you like proper risk here. So let me see what you were doing here. You were let me just open the position size calculator. All right, so you had $2,000. The risk for the stop loss was 60 pips for GJ, right? For GJ, current ask price is 141.60, 141.60. Okay, so normally you're supposed to be risking 5% max, right? So 5% max, you should only be using a 1.23. That's a max lot size that you should be using. you were using a 1.5 lot size. So it looks like you were risking like, I don't know, 50% of your account. Let me see. Not 50%. You're risking like, not 50%. Let's see, 0.40. Yeah, so you're risking 30% of your account, a little over 30. So 32%. There we go, 31%. So Layla, you're definitely over leveraging your account like crazy because you're risking 32% of your account with that trade. So that's why it kicked you out of the trade, because you can see right here, you know, it's a 1.5. That's the lot size you took. You only had a $2,000 account and the stop loss was 60 pips for GJ. So if that was the case, you were risking 32% of your account. And depending on your broker, most brokers don't let you risk this much, right? You can only risk like a little bit over 10%. So you took way too big of a lot size. So that's why it kicked you out as soon as you entered the trade. You didn't even get to, you know, take any of these profits because as soon as you enter the trade, it kicked you out of the trade because you were using way too much risk. If this makes sense to you, yeah, I think even on Hugo's way, this is like way too much. It's way too much risk for your account. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're using Hugo's way or if you're using like 32% is a huge, like you're literally, if you're doing this, you could only take like 3 trades. And if you lose 3 trades, you literally like lose your entire account. That's why they don't let you risk this much because they don't want you to blow your account like on one trade. Like you're not supposed to be gambling, right? You're supposed to be using skill and risk management. And this is obviously, you know, way over risk because we only recommend that you risk like 1 to 3%, 5% max, right? But you risk a total of 32% off that one trade. So that's why you got kicked out of that trade because your broker didn't trust you. Your broke like usually if you risk this much, say if you go too far into drawdown, right? Say you go past the stop loss and you don't close the trade, then then the broker, what they do is they'll automatically kick you out. So they'll take your money, they'll kick you out of the trade, and it's basically like, you know, this is your fault because like what they're trying to say is like you basically took too big of a risk that you knew you shouldn't be taking. Because like, for example here, you know, if you're risking 32%, and just use for example, so you have 32 divided by 100, right? Or no, wait, sorry. 100. So you have 100%. That's your account. So 2,000, your account is 100%. You divide that by 32. You could only lose 3.1 trades to until you go into the negative, right? Your broker doesn't want you to go into the negative because if you go into the negative, like someone's going to have to owe that money to liquidity, right? So if you go past your like your account balance, your broker is going to owe money to your trade if you lose more than that. So that's why they don't let you risk this much. They only let you risk like 10 to like 15% max because they don't want you to get to that point where you lose more money than what you have on your account. So this is you took way too big of a risk, Layla. I could see why they kicked you out of the trade. Let me see if you sent your picture over here. Yeah, so it looks like I just pulled your thing up over here, so I'm pulling yours up right here. So it looks like you got kicked out of the trade as soon as you entered. So you just entered the trade and it kicked you out right as soon as you got. So this is what I mean. So your broker basically let you take the trade, and they just took your money and kicked you out of the trade because they're like you took way too big of a risk. Like you went past the limit because you only had 2,000 in your account right here. So I don't know, does that make any sense to you, Layla? Because you're only supposed to be risking a 5% max. You risk 32%. For 5%, you should only be taking a 0.23 lot size, but you took a 1.5. So you're right here, 1.5. You were actually risking 32% of your account with that one trade. So that's why they kicked you out of the trade because you didn't have enough money in your account. See, here's the thing. If you tried to do this with Forex.com, they wouldn't let you take the trade because they're like, they already know that you can't take this much risk, right? They would just give you an error. They would say like, you know, trade can't be filled. But with Hugo's way, this is why I don't like using like unregulated brokers. Like Hugo's way over here, they don't care about your account. They just want to make money off you. So they let you take the trade, even though they know you can't take the trade. They basically take your money and then they kick you out of the trade. So, I mean, yeah, just, you know, keep that in mind. Layla, you like maybe like use a position size calculator because I know we talked about this before. And this is why it's important that you use a position size calculator so that you can understand, what your lot size should be. But yeah, you took like way too big of a risk. And the problem with Hugo's way is that they don't care about your account. They just want to make money. So, if you used a regulated broker, like I've always recommended, they wouldn't let you take the trade. They'd give you an error. But since you were using an unregulated broker like Hugo's way, which doesn't really care if you take the trade or not, they just care about making money off your trade. They obviously took your money and then they kicked you out. So they basically just robbed you for that attempt to take the trade. But I mean, you'll learn from it. Just keep that in mind and make sure to use a position size calculator next time. So let me go down the chat over here real quick and see if I missed anything else. Nice. Yeah. So Dennis said his GJ was clean this morning, straight to TP. Good morning, Super Sam. Morning, Life Plus. Life Plus said, hey, Shawn, what was the new strategy for intraday US 30? I'll go over that right now as well. Let's see if there's anything else here. Morning, Daniel. Morning, George. George from Zambia. What's the direction of gold looking like? So I'll take a look at that as well. So let me take a look at gold. I'll add you to the list. George. So we got George with gold. Go over intraday 30 strategy. 30 minutes. So I'll go over that strategy as well. Dennis said Hugo's way be like, got him. I know that sucks. DeJohn said Hugo about to be as bad as K caught. Yeah, no, for sure. Dennis said Hugo weighs the devil. DeJohn said, have you seen that video of the dude that was trading options on Robinhood and lost 40K? Oh, that's crazy. DeJohn said you could hear his soul leave his body. It's crazy. It's crazy how some people like risk like crazy amounts when they trade, not just like Forex, but like in general, like options, stocks, any of that stuff. It's pretty crazy. Varun said, what about US 30? So there's no US 30 entry yet, Varun. The market opened right here and we have no signal. So until we get a signal, I mean, we'll determine if we're going to take it or not. We're obviously looking for a sell right here. Prices testing the structure, which is a strong resistance where it tested 1, 2, and then third time right here for a triple top. But until we have that signal, we're not going to, there's really no reason for us to be jumping the gun and try to get into this trade like too early, because I think Biden's inauguration is still in the process right now. So he's at church right now, 30 minutes ago. Biden's transitioned top economic advisor says quelling COVID virus. Okay, so they're still in the process of Biden making it to his inauguration. He's at church right now. He was there about 47 minutes ago. It's probably going to be over in about 20 to 30 minutes, and then he'll probably head over to the Capitol. So I mean, we'll see how that plays out. But obviously, we're going to be careful with our trades. But yeah, everyone, we're still waiting for this entry over here. Let me see if there's anything else over here before I continue. Skill Trade said, man, it sucks to learn this lesson with such a hefty balance, though. Evil. Yeah, no, definitely. Let's see. Byron said, how are you? Looks like that gold had a big drop when Trump left, then went back up. Yeah, definitely, Byron. We'll take a look at gold right now as well, because I got that on the list for George. So I'll look at gold for both of you guys, and then we'll analyze to see what happened from there. Tam said, Shawn, are you still in the US 30 trade? Unfortunately, I got kicked out last night. Tam, it looks like, right after I sent that update yesterday about, after I sent the update yesterday with his pardons right here, this caused like price to just go in the opposite direction. Like literally after he pardoned everybody, it went the complete opposite. So I'm not sure if this necessarily directly affected the market, but it looks like it probably did, because it pushed up pretty heavy from that point. Look, check this out right here. So it was crazy. Earlier, US 30 dropped like 1,000 pips, right? So it dropped from up here all the way down here for like 730 pips, almost 1,000. And then it spiked all the way back up right here, another 1,000 pips. So we're having the same situation as yesterday, guys, where we had like these crazy movements in the market, right? Where price just spikes up and down like about 1,000 pips either way. It's just whipsawing. So this is why we're being careful in the market, because we don't want to get caught in like these crazy movements, at least until Biden gets inaugurated, because there's going to be a lot of people speculating in the market. And obviously, with a lot of people in the market that don't know what they're doing, the institutions are going to spike price up and down. That way they can kick people out of this trade. Because obviously, if someone enters a trade and they have their stop loss pretty tight, because everyone's betting right now, right? Everyone's kind of just like, oh, I'll take a buy position. And then they have a tight stop loss. They have their stop loss like somewhere right here, or not that close, maybe somewhere like right there. So that when they spike price up and down, they stop these people out right here. And then again, people will try to take a short position, and then they have their stop loss kind of tight, like right there. And then they spike price all the way back up to stop them out as well. So like, for example, right here, you can see that these big spikes right here are stopping people out, right? Like everyone's just getting wicked out. You see big wicks down here. You'll probably see a big wick up here. And then this will just keep bouncing back and forth up until they stop everyone out, until it finds a direction. So just looking at this right here right now, let me see if I see anything. Yeah, it looks like the market in general is moving crazy. Let me check the other pairs over here. So these huge spikes right here, thankfully our GJ hit TP right there. Let me see some pairs that are necessarily directly affected. So here's our Euro USD. This is like positively affecting our position right now. We were like some drawdown yesterday. It never broke that structure that we looked at yesterday, right? I said it was going to reject off this point and come back down, and it did exactly that. That's why we've been holding this position for a while, because I do determine that the US dollar is going to be, temporarily in strength while this inauguration is happening. Well, not exactly. Look, check this out. It's so weird because your USD is dropping, and then we have USD CAD, which is dropping as well. This should be going the opposite direction. Odd USD is going up. Let's see if there's anything else here. Yeah, it looks like everything's kind of doing their own thing right now. It's pretty weird. Usually Euro USD correlates with US 30, but US 30 is going up and US 30 and Euro USD is going down. So the entire market is kind of going opposite of what it's supposed to be doing right now. Let me see gold real quick. Gold would probably have some spikes. Yeah, so some spikes right here for gold as well. And we'll definitely take a look at gold shortly. But this is why we're staying out of the market. Look at this huge spike right here. So if you're in this trade right here, it spiked about 100 and so from the top of this candle, it spiked 225 pips. So if you guys were in gold, you guys probably got kicked out of this trade. And then it spiked again up here. So from down here all the way up here, it spiked another 160 pips almost. So you can see price is definitely going crazy right now. And if you guys have been following my analysis for gold, I'll reiterate what I've been discussing this entire week, well, up until like last week, because this is, this pretty much is moving exactly like I mentioned. I said it was going to range the whole week, and that's exactly what it did, right? The market was down here. I said I was going to range the whole week, and I said not to take any trades for gold until it breaks and closes below here, or breaks and closes above here. Which, if you guys followed my analysis, you guys wouldn't have gotten caught in any of these like fake outs right here. You guys could have probably made some profit off that, but just like I mentioned, the market's it's all over the place. So let me see what else is going on over here before we continue. Let me see this real quick. Razul said, Shawn, I have 16 days left on my FTMO challenge and I need to make 11K. Any recommendation would be appreciated. I still have a buffer of 4K for maximum loss. I've cut a lot of lot size, etc. So Razul, I would just stick with the US 30 positions that we take. Obviously I'm only going to be calling them if I think they're good. Damn, look at this spike right here. This is crazy because when the market first opened, it spiked down. So they like lured in these people here. It's like, see this spike right here. So price initially spiked down and people probably entered like a short position right here when this happened, like when this closed. And then look what happened. So like market opened, it was a spike down. So people probably entered short positions and then they ended up getting stopped out like immediately. Oh, wait, check this out. So that's crazy because look how strong that bearish candle was. So whoever entered this position, they were like, oh, tight. Like they got this huge bearish candles. They're like, oh, cool. I'm like in profit. And then all of a sudden it goes the complete opposite, straight up. So that's why we're being patient with these trades, guys, because you don't want to get caught in like these fake outs right here. Geez, look at that. So price opened from here it dropped like 600 pips or 500 pips. And then from this point, it rejected from here all the way up about 1,300 pips. Geez, market is pretty crazy right now. So let me go back to the chat real quick and see what's going on. Yeah, City said UK 100 is going ham. It looks like everything's going ham right now, honestly. Here we have US 30, and let me go to UK 100. Oh, this one too. So both of them are moving pretty crazy right now. Geez, look at that spike though, guys, right? It's a big spike. Let me see if there's anything else over here real quick before we continue. Byron said, you know, I love gold. Yeah, definitely. George said, what are the best brokers I can use? George from Africa, Zambia. So George, I only recommend US regulated brokers like forex.com. I don't ever recommend unregulated brokers, even though I use them myself for US 30, because they're just untrustworthy. You know, there's a lot of issues that can happen. It just really depends on how you use them. You know, if you're using them for scalping, if you're using them for intraday trading, if you're using them for specific assets, they might be good if that's like your only option. But I personally only recommend US regulated brokers or like regulated brokers in your country. So if you're in Zambia, I'm not sure what brokers you guys use out there, but I know people outside the US usually like to use IC markets. So I'm not sure if you've heard of IC markets or have used them, but that's generally what people use in K2 that are using something regulated. Let me send this link out real quick to the group real quick. Try this. Clinton said he couldn't get in. Try this link. All right, let me I think the link works, right? Because you guys are in here. There's a couple people in the chat that can't get into the chat, but I think they should be good now. So let me continue on forward with these questions real quick. Dejan said he sent a video on. Here, I'll just play it for you guys real quick. Let's see if we can watch it. So this is the guy that Dejan was mentioning. He lost 40K on Robinhood swinging. Let's see what he did. He took Apple. All right, so he's taking the trades right there. Damn, he took 358 contracts, 10,000 bucks. He's super in the negative right now. Let's see what happens here. We're watching this video that Dejan sent us about this dude who lost 40K on Robinhood. Oh, this dude's hella tripping. He took a call, right? Dejan, let me see. It looks like he took a call. It is dropping pretty heavy. I've never seen this video before. Oh, damn, that's crazy. Yeah, that dude lost hell off that. But yeah, Dejan, thanks for sharing. I never seen that video before, but yeah, he lost 40K off that. That's crazy. Dejan said I would have cried, man. I don't know how he held it together. No, for sure. It's a crazy drop. That's why I don't take dumb risks like that, guys. Like when I trade, I only take trades that I know are for sure, and I use proper risk, so I never have to worry about getting caught in something like that. All right, guys. So let me go back over here and check the chat again real quick. So Air Suspension said, guys, gold is going to 1900 easily, and Dow J to the new all-time high. So let me see where the all-time high is here for the Dow. Let me back up real quick. Go on the 1 hour. Actually, let me go on the daily 4 hour. So the all-time high is actually not that high right now. It's right over here. So there we go with that right there. Yeah, I could see that happening right there. You know, I'm probably going to take a buy position. I'm just going to hold on to it. Let's see. How far is the drop from there? So I already have the all-time high marked up right there. I'll go on the 10-minute. Yeah, it looks like it's got some ways to go. Yeah, if we get a buy position for US 30, I'll probably take it. But I'll definitely be watching it. So let's see, from air suspension mentioned that gold is going to go to 1900, and then or 19,000 actually. 1900 actually. So that, and then he thinks the Dow is going to go up to the new all-time high. I can see that happening too, but it's not something that I want to just take the trade and then hope it's going to go. I want to just wait for it and see if we have some sort of confirmation, because right now this can easily like whipsaw around, like maybe come back down. I think it'll definitely reach all-time high. I don't know if it'll happen today, possibly, but I mean, we'll just wait and see how this how this ends up playing out. Not sure how the news is gonna, or how the inauguration is gonna affect it, but we'll see. Because I'm sure they're not gonna make it easy and just spike it up, right? Because let's check out the sentiment. It seems like people might be all like in that area too. So let's see, IG sentiment, US 30. I'll be surprised if the sentiment is short. Let me check real quick. Actually, 60% of people are still short. So all of those shorts from yesterday are still there. Looks like everyone's just holding on to those shorts. So yeah, I wish I would have taken that buy somewhere down here. I think it's way too high right now, because it can drop back down to here before shooting up. So I'll probably hold off on that, but I'll definitely keep an eye on that. So thanks for that input, suspension. Let's continue on with this real quick before we continue. Skills Trade said correlating pairs going in the same direction. I don't think so. Well, because your USD usually correlates with US 30. So I had your USD over here. It's actually going down. So Skills Trade, your USD correlates with US 30, and they're going the opposite. So I'm not sure which ones are going the same direction, because this is going down. Odd USD is going up. Odd USD and your USD correlate as well, and same with GU over here and NU. So all these USD pairs usually correlate in the same direction. Odd USD should be going up. Your USD is actually going down. GU is going down. NU is going up. USD CAD should be going up as well. So I don't really see, the correlating pairs aren't really going in the same direction. They're kind of going the opposite. They're kind of all over the place. So yeah, we have that, and then we have USD CHF over here as well. You'd expect it to be going up, but it looks like everything is kind of doing the opposite right now. So that's why we're kind of careful with our positions, because there's just wow, look at these spikes right here. Big spike down. Let's see what else is spiking over here. Wow, look at the spike over here. Good thing I didn't call this trade. I was gonna call this trade GCAD yesterday. Thankfully I didn't, because look what happened. I mean, we probably would have locked in profits right here, because it did shoot up in profit about 70 pips, but it did drop right after. So we have some crazy spikes right now happening after all this new news. Oh, Skills Trade said I meant negative correlation. My bad, Shawn. Yeah, and I was confused for a second, Skills Trade, because I was like, I swear I was looking at the pairs and they were opposite. But you're right if you ended up saying that. But yeah, it looks like the GBP pairs are dropping pretty heavy. GA over here as well. So thankfully we got out of this trade yesterday. Got out at 30 pips. If you guys took GA yesterday, it looks like it pushed up from here up until 40-ish pips. So I got out at 30 pips TP2, and then it ended up shooting down like it did right here. So market's going pretty crazy right now, guys. Good thing we didn't enter anything, because wow, look at this right here. Our suspension is shooting up like crazy. I probably should have taken your call on that when you mentioned it. See how much farther it's got to go. About 1,000 pips. So it's going to reach that all-time high. Yeah, we'll see where this goes to. Let me see. $38.48. Actually, just took a buy, guys, on mine. Let me see, $38.48. So I just took a random buy. I'm just gonna hold on to it, like, speculate how sorry, like air suspension mentioned. I took a buy and I'm just gonna hold on to it until it reaches the all-time high. So I took a 10 lot, which is equivalent to 1 lot, and I have my stop loss at 30,484. All right, I put no TP. I'm just gonna write it up. So guys, I entered the trade right here. And my stop loss is right there. I'm just gonna shoot up to there. So I currently, I'm in this position. I didn't call the trade because obviously there's no entry available. This is just speculative trade. We're just taking it and pretty much just riding it. So I took a buy right there. I'm currently in the position, currently in profit decently. And I'm just gonna let it run. So we'll see how this plays out. I'm gonna set an alert over here just so that I can US 30 pushing all-time high. All right, so I got an alert set up there. So once it reaches that point, I'll probably move my stop loss in profit, but I'm currently in the position, currently in profit. It looks pretty decent. So it looks good. Thanks for that tip, air suspension. I knew it was gonna go up, but I wasn't sure how far. And then now that you mentioned the all-time high, it makes sense. So currently in that right now, but it looks good so far for the most part. Okay, so let me continue on with this over here and see if there's anything else. Hey, morning, Deswell. How's it going, bro? Let me see if anything else over here. Vishnu said, Shawn, have you ever used ATR for any trade analysis before? I mean, I use it for every trade pretty much, Vishnu. So like, for example, here, so if I was to enter a buy position here, right? When I use the positioning tool, it incorporates the ATR into the trade. So you put long position right here. You can see right here that it puts the stop loss at the swing, and then it includes the ATR right here. So the swing plus ATR, it's an extra like, I think this is like 10 pips, or it's considered 10 or 100 pips. But you can see right here that it puts the stop loss at the swing, and then it includes the ATR down here. So that's why I use the ATR to determine where the stop loss should be. I'm not sure if you're like referring to using it as like for a strategy, but if you're using it for a stop loss, this is pretty much how I use it. I just zoom out. If I want to enter a long position, it'll place it there, and then it'll place it below the stop loss with the addition of the ATR, which would be this little space down here. So I actually do use it. I'm not sure if you ever noticed that, but that's what happens when you use this right here. It just incorporates the ATR into it. So let me see if there's anything else before we continue. Brayden said, I have a buy on US 30 from open today and a buy on gold from open, both on a demo account, and just seeing what the market wants to do with the big events today. Yeah, nice move, Brayden. I wasn't sure how the market was going to move either. That's why I was kind of careful with my trades. But yeah, if you took a buy on open right here, you'd be doing pretty good. And then if you took a buy on gold as well, I think it spiked up as well, right? So gold right here. Yeah, gold's spiking up like crazy. Check that out. So this is like really weird because you'd expect, I mean, everything's kind of moving opposite, right? Because this is indicating that the US dollar is weak. But if you go to like other assets, like, I don't know, like your USD, it's going down. So that's indicating that the US dollar is strong. Right here, it's weak. Right here, it's strong. I mean, everything is kind of, it's just, they're not moving how they're supposed to for the most part, based on basic fundamentals. Price is kind of just doing what it wants to. Like, for example, right here, US dollar is weak. But I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see how everything plays out. But that's nice that you took that, Brayden, so that you actually have, you're actually following the trade. Because I'm sure if you didn't have this buy position for gold or this buy position for your US 30, you wouldn't be watching the position, right? So good thing that you have that there. And yeah, I mean, we'll just see how this plays out from this point. I got my positions running, so I should be good. I'm in profit about a couple $100. I only took a small lot size of 10 lots, so it's nothing too crazy, but I'm definitely going to be watching it. Let's see if there's anything else here as we continue. Going on over here. Arash mentioned, look USD CAD, it's still melting due to the news. Yeah, I was looking at that earlier, looking at the correlating pairs. This is really weird that it's dropping like crazy. It's literally melting, like how Rosh mentioned. This is dropping. It dropped like 76 pips, almost 80 pips from this candle. And this is why we're being careful with this. I mean, there's also Bank of Canada news right now. It's a Bank of Canada rate decision. So that's also going to affect the market. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. There's news from the Canadian dollar, and there's more news for the Canadian dollar all throughout morning. So from 7 up until I think 8 a.m. there's news, and then from there we have GBP news at 9, and then we also have the presidential inauguration today. So it's a heavy news day today, guys. So today's probably a day not to really mess with the markets too much, unless you're really confident about what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, the market is pretty much all over the place this morning. Let me see if there's anything else before we continue. Skills Trade said another speculative trade, Shawn. I see you flirting with it. Haha, I gotta admit, kind of like how some of the fam will just hop in and ride with you until the wheels fall off. Exactly. Yeah, and I did do it. So that's pretty much why I decided to pretty much take it for the most part. Yeah, Air Suspension said so many years in this game, so I know the behavior of these instruments. Yeah, so for me, I just started trading US 30 like last year, guys. I started trading it like last, I think, May, and it's been great for me so far. With the daily strategy. Someone like Air Suspension who has more experience trading this, he would know more than me, obviously. So if he thinks it's going to go up, and I think it's going to go up, and he has way more experience than me, I think definitely that it'll continue in that direction. So, I mean, we'll just wait and see how it plays out. I do have my buy position in place, so I'm just going to leave it there and then see how it moves going forward. I put no TP. So if it does go higher than the all-time high, I'm just going to keep riding it up. But yeah, other than that, if we get a sell, I'm probably not going to take it, guys. So I'm still going to follow it for our daily entry. But if we do get a sell, I'm probably not going to take it because it looks like everything is kind of stacked against that move in that direction. So I do have my alert set up, but we will continue watching it later. So I think that's it for the questions here. I'm going to go ahead and answer these other questions that we have. So George wants me to take a look at gold. If you guys want me to look at any assets or analyze anything for you guys, just put them in the chat and then I'll take a look at them. So we have another one for short scene who wants me to take a look at UJ. USDJPY. So I got that on the list. So I got gold for George, and then I got USDJPY for short scene. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at that real quick. See if there's anything else here. All right. Let's fix this real quick. All right, so I'm gonna pull up gold real quick. We got gold right over here. And then I'll analyze this from, so you guys already saw my analysis from last week. I'm just going to reanalyze it for the new people here, delete everything off the chart. Take that off the chart. We got a naked chart right here. I'm going to turn on the K2SR indicator. And then I'm going to draw my zones on the chart for you guys. So we got a zone down here. Zone right there. Zone right there. There. There, and then there's a couple of zones up here, and that's about it. So there we got our zones there. I'm gonna turn off the K2SRs. And there you go. We have some nicely drawn zones on the chart, identifying all these rejection points up until, let's see how far does it go back. So these rejection points have been drawn all the way since July of 2020. So these rejection points are pretty solid. They have months and months of data, I guess like about 6 or 7 months. So looking at price right here, after we have this identification, obviously all of this week, I was telling you guys that it was just going to range through here, right? So like the week started, or last week actually, I first analyzed it when it was still over here. So I analyzed it when it was over here. And then I mentioned, if you guys have been following me for this whole, these whole past couple of weeks, I indicated that price was just going to range from here, right? And then what happened? It did exactly that. It just ranged from there. And then I mentioned that to not take any trades here until it closes above here or closes below here. The reason for that is because if you guys took trades within here, and price ended up like, say if you took a buy here and then like, because a lot of people would try to take the buy here if they think it's ranging between these two zones, right? So if you took a buy right here, you probably would have gone stopped out right here because it dropped like 300 pips. So if your stop loss was like 260 pips, you probably would have gone stopped out. And then again, like same situation over here, as price is like heading up to this point. I'm sure a lot of people try to take like a short position here because they thought it was ranging. And this is why I mentioned to, some people would have their stop loss like right there, about 100 pips. And then they probably would have gone stopped out right there, right? So the same analysis for gold right now, it's doing exactly what we anticipated, and now it's pushing up to this direction. So if price ends up pushing up further and closes above here, something like that, then you can possibly take the long position, because we have the rejection from that point, and then we have this right here. Let me see if there's a buy signal. Yeah, so the buy signal actually started right here. So the way that this move started was actually down here. We had the rejection from this point, rejection from this structure. We had the buy signal right here. And then the momentum ended up swinging upward. So if price closes above this area up here, then you could probably take that buy entry from that point, because it'll start establishing higher highs. So from there, you can take a long position and then pretty much just ride it higher. And then as it closes above here, so it'll probably close above here and then close above here. When that happens, you can take another long position from that point up there. So that's kind of what I see happening right here for gold. But like I mentioned, we'd have to wait for it to actually close above here for there to be that confirmation. And with what's going on in the world right now, with Biden getting inaugurated today, let me refresh this. Yeah, with him getting inaugurated, this is obviously this is going to affect the market, right? So you might see some whipsaws here and there, but definitely you could probably see it move up to this point at the very least. Like Ericis mentioned, he said 1900 right here. That's probably where it's going to go, because that's where the structure is. Once it reaches this structure, it can either, so example here, price can either continue up to this point and then either shoot through it and continue further, or it can reject off this point and come right back down. So keep that in mind. But yeah, same analysis for gold. We're still waiting for it to shoot up, right? Because at this point right now, there's no guarantee it's going to continue up like all the way. It can easily reject off this point, come back down, possibly come back up, reject off this point again, come back down, and then just establish like higher highs as it continues to push up higher. So if you guys want to enter this trade, it looks pretty bullish to me, but obviously for me, I'm not going to take it because I don't like taking these crazy trades that are too risky. Unless if it's for US 30, of course, then I'll take that trade. But looking at something like gold, I don't trade gold at all, because it's just too risky for myself. Let's see if there's anything else here. Mary said, "Hi, Shawn, could you look at EG, please?" Yeah, I'll take a look at EG, Mary. So let me add you to the list. Mary, Euro GBP. All right, so I'll add you to the list, Mary. I just analyzed gold here for George. So George, hopefully this helps. But I would definitely hold off until you, you can take it if you want. Just make sure your stop loss is kind of wide, because you're probably gonna see some spikes in price, probably like down here, if possible. So I would just take a smaller lot size and just pretty much ride it. So that's pretty much it for gold right there. Let me see if there's anything else. John wants me to take a look at GBP USD, so I'll take a look at that as well. John wants me to take a look at GBP USD. Let's see if there's anything else here. Dang, so David said there's a bomb threat at the Supreme Court. So let's let me see if I can Google that real quick. I'm not surprised, honestly, that there's a bomb threat at the Supreme Court, especially with everything that's already happened. Yeah, so like right here, it says bomb threat at Virginia Supreme Court. Yeah, okay. Oh, it was 5 days ago. Let me see if there's anything over here. Who's trying to see who's Fox News. I'm trying to figure out who's the most legit person to look at. Let's look at Fox News real quick. I don't follow Fox News, but I think this is like one of the bigger news. Yeah, so bomb threat at the U.S. Supreme Court, according to CNN. Okay, screen. Yeah, so it looks like there is a bomb threat right now. I'm not sure how that'll necessarily affect the market, but yeah, definitely there's a bomb threat going on at this point. But yeah, let me see if there's anything else here as well. Okay, so Skilltrade said, Shawn, you said Bitcoin is a speculative asset, but how long would it have to be in existence before it has enough historical data for it to no longer be speculative? So Skilltrade, for example, let me just pull it up for you real quick. So looking at Bitcoin over here, I'm going to go like on the 4 hour, right? I'm going to take everything off the chart. So if you look at Bitcoin over here, pull up Bitcoin. Like looking at the data here, there's no smooth data, right? It's starting to smoothen out. So this whole area right here, let me see if I can, this whole area right here is starting to smoothen out. It's creating structure, right? So until that happens where it creates enough structure for you to even apply technical analysis, like how we do for any other asset, that's when it'll have like enough historical data. Because if you look at Bitcoin here, if we go back to the daily, the thing with this is there's really no data for you to really pull, right? Because for Bitcoin, it literally bounces around, or I'll even go on the monthly or weekly. So looking at this here, there isn't really much data for you to really pull here if you're applying, technical analysis. Because looking here on the weekly, like you have like no movement here, and then all of a sudden it shoots all the way up here and comes right back down, right? It's a pump and dump. It just pumps and then it dumps, pumps, and then it dumps, right? It just, there's really no data that where you can really plot where support resistance really is, because look right here, this was a resistance the last time, and then it shoots right through it. Vice versa over here, we have this huge resistance and it shoots right through it. So like, for example, here, this is Bitcoin. If you go to a currency that's been around for a while, like something like, I don't know, Euro USD. See, if you go here on the weekly, there's actual data here where you can see where price is likely to, reject from. Like, for example, here, if you're looking at Euro USD, you'll see price will get to certain points and then it'll struggle and then it'll reject off it, right? So there's a lot of data here where you can see where price is likely to move. You compare this to Bitcoin over here, and there isn't really much of that to look at. So Bitcoin is tradable. It's very speculative, because you can literally take a sell and then you can get lucky and just catch this ride down, or you can take a buy and get lucky and just catch the ride up. So for Bitcoin right here, I would probably compare it to something like gold, because it's a trading asset. It's not really a ranging asset like Forex. So for example, here, gold, you can see here for gold, it still has data where you can pull where it continues on forward. Like you can see where gold was kind of speculative like a long time ago. You see if it goes back that far. Okay, so if you look at gold over here around this time, like in the 2000s, it was just going sideways. But if you go even farther, I know this goes like way farther back than 97, but we don't have the data on here. But you can see like from here, this is where gold was kind of just going sideways, and then it just kept going up and up. And then once it was around for long enough, you can see here that it was active. Like you can see patterns and you can see where price respects like these resistance and supports right here, right? Like price reaches a resistance, comes back down, reaches resistance, comes back down, vice versa. Price reaches support down here, and then it bounces back up. So if you use this, for example, and you compare it to Bitcoin over here, it's like a whole different story, because for Bitcoin, it's only been moving like in the same area, like right here, like for a certain amount of time. So we have this whole area right here where I guess you can consider is like tradable, because you have data right here for where it actually moves. See where Bitcoin currently is right here. There's like really no data right here where you can really identify where the rejections are going to be, or whether it's going to be, continuing up or continuing down. It could literally just Like tomorrow, Bitcoin can literally skyrocket again, way up, or it can skyrocket way back down. So there's no set time period for it to be wide enough for you to determine whether it's speculative or not. It just really depends on how much structure gets created. Because once structure is created, that's when the banks get involved. They have their algos trade. And then from that point, they'll create structures for you, and you can identify where they're trading. And that's where you can determine, where and where not to trade with regard to Bitcoin. But I think for now, it's too speculative for someone like me to trade, because I like to know where data is. So if I go here on the 4-hour and I turn the K2SRs, you guys can see that these zones are super far off, right? So it's creating structure here, but we don't know if this is going to end up spiking up super heavy or if it's going to spike down super heavy. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at Bitcoin, but it's probably going to be a couple of years until it, not even a couple of years, maybe like over 10 years before it has like established data where you can really trade it like that. But who knows? I mean, at this point, I just buy Bitcoin and I hold it. I don't necessarily trade it actively, because I don't want to get caught in any of these crazy movements. Here, let me see if there's anything else here as we continue. So yeah, I added GU to the list for John. Let's see, air suspension said, but after all, you have my deep respect. Yeah, no, definitely, Air. Like, I mean, I took your advice on it, right? I took the trade. So it's not that I'm doubting you. It's just that I don't like taking trade. Well, for gold, I for sure don't trade gold. So don't expect me to take the gold trade, but I did take this right here. So I do think it's going to go up. Obviously it's going to be bullish because, like I mentioned, with Biden coming into power, it's going to bring good morale to the US. So we'll see how this plays out. But other than that, let me see how everything's looking over here. All right, cool. So my US 30 positions in profit, about a couple $100, not bad at all. And I'm gonna keep holding it. So let's see, we have from here up until the next all-time high at about 1,000 pips. So we'll keep following it. We'll see how this plays out. Other than that, let me see if there's anything here. Skillstraight said, I got to step out now, so I won't be able to respond to your answer, but I'll replay it to hear it later. Have a great day, y'all. Yeah, Skillstraight. So we'll see you tomorrow. Forbes said US 30 about to bust. Yeah, no, definitely. It looks like it's about to shoot right through that all-time high right here. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I think that's about it right there. So let's see. Yeah, everyone's asking air suspension a question. So I'll let you guys have that side convo right there. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at these pairs over here on the list. So Short Scene wants me to take a look at UJ. And just a reminder, guys, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like the stream, that'll definitely help us continue to grow this channel, and it'll help me continue to go online for you guys every morning to give you guys this free analysis and free hangout spot for pretty much everyone in K2. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at USCJPY right here. So we got that right there. I'm going to go ahead and delete everything off the chart. Zoom out from this point, delete everything, hide that. And there we go. We have a blank chart right there. I'm going to turn on the K2SRs. And now I'm going to draw these zones on the chart for you guys. All right. So we got that right there. That right there. There, we got this right here. We got this down here. All right, cool. So we have all the zones here drawn for UJ. You guys can see that price generally respects these zones up until, let's see. Yeah, so price has been in this area. The last time it was in this area, like the longest of last year, was in March. So back in March, it was in the same exact price area. It came back in this area again in July, and then it came back again in September, October, November, December, and then now it's swinging back to this point now. So looking at UJ right here, I'm gonna zoom out from this point. Looking at UJ, I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator right here. Okay, it's perfect. It's exactly what I anticipated. So like right here, just looking at UJ, we have a rejection point from up here. We have another rejection point from up here. We have a sell signal right here. and then price is attempting to break structure down here, right? So if price breaks structure right here, then we can anticipate this to drop even further to test this structure way down here, right? So that's basically what I see happening here for UJ. But like I mentioned, with everything going on in the world right now, with regard to Biden's inauguration, this is definitely going to directly affect. Okay, close. So Biden and Harris have arrived to the Capitol. So they got to the Capitol about 5 minutes ago. See if we have any video here. Hide that. Yeah, so let's see what's going to happen here. Looks like they're about to start soon. They just arrived to the Capitol. That's probably going to affect UJ right here. So you can see right there that price was below the structure. Now it's spiked right back up, right? So we'll have to wait and see how this ends up playing out from this point. But obviously there is, there's a lot of different stuff here that can happen, obviously, right? This can easily shoot right back up if the US dollar gains in strength, or it can continue back further. The main key is that we just want price to, sorry,
this would be his first time arriving as president-elect. Now, we do expect McConnell to attend this.
All right, so they're making it to the Capitol now.
I believe that Biden is now getting out of the car as well, blocked a little bit by some of the many black cars that are in front of me, but he will be soon making his way.
There's Biden
over to the Capitol there. I can see him just out of the corner. Guys.
There we do see the president-elect Elon and Dr. Biden.
Nice. Okay, cool. So there's Biden. He's making it to the Capitol right now. I'll just mute that for a second. But yeah, they're making their way to the White House right now as we speak.
As far as cooperation.
So we got that plane right there. That's probably, they just arrived to the Capitol. That's probably why this is like starting to move a little weird. But we'll have to wait and see how this ends up playing out from that point. Because once he starts speaking, that's when people will start, making their bets in the market. They'll start pushing price in one direction or the other. That's when sentiment starts to go a little crazy because everyone starts to bet in one direction. And generally, you kind of want to be in the opposite of that direction. Or I don't know, you might want to be with it, depending on how strong the momentum is. But yeah, looking at UJ right here, basically what we have is a rejection off this point, a sell signal right here. And then now we're just waiting for price to break and close past the structure where you can take a short position. But I would personally wait before actually taking, this entry, because this could, it can easily spike up. Like I mentioned, we have about 2 hours and 13 minutes left on this candle. So within 2 hours, price can either close below here or price can swing back up, have a huge wick, and then reject up to this point. So we got 2 hours left on UJ before we even decide to take a trade for this. But until then, we'll go back and relook at that a little later. Okay, so let me continue this real quick and see if there's anything else. Hamizan said, Shawn, I made profit 400 from UCAD now. My hand is still shaking. So Hamizan took a UCAD position over here. Let me see. I think I analyzed that for you yesterday, right? Or earlier this week. So this did exactly what, I was mentioning last week. So this drop right here happened on the 18th, right? So I'm not sure if I analyzed this for you yesterday, Hamizan, but I know I analyzed it for someone. But we looked for the same analysis. So we had the rejection right here. We had the sell signal right here. And I was indicating that price was probably going to, drop from this point. And then I mentioned that I probably wouldn't take the trade until it closes below here. But I was saying that this is such a huge drop that if someone wanted to take it, they can literally take it from here and just write it down for like 100 pips. I think that was my little guesstimation right there. So if you did take that trade right there, short position right here, huge drop right there, 70 pips, could even taken it down to here for 100 pips. So it did exactly what we analyzed earlier this week, thankfully. And good thing that you made some money off that, Hamizan. So, let's keep going and hopefully you make more profit moving forward. So that's it for that. Let me see. Air Suspension said how I did that with a lot of experience, skills, consistency, and most important with love. Just love this game. Yeah, definitely Air Suspension. I'm with you with that. That's why I come on here every day and I give you guys free advice and I trade for you guys live every day, because this is what I like to do. Obviously, I legitimately like to trade. I don't just do it for the money. I obviously do it because I like back testing. I like figuring out solutions for trading. And, the profits are definitely a plus because if you guys know me and you guys have followed K2 from the beginning, like K2 is definitely, well, not K2, but trading in generally has changed my life like completely, guys. Like it's crazy what trading can do. All right, so let me see what we got over here before we continue. Peter said, does Biden even know where he is or what day it is today? Yeah, that's funny. Biden was all over the place right now.
Policy, just goodwill.
So let's see. He's making his way to the Capitol right now. This was 10 minutes ago. Oh wow! So he's making his way up. So they're about to start. Looks like.
Certainly, there was strong COVID testing for him to sort of navigate on.
Nice.
Their lives, guys.
All right, looks like they're getting started, guys. So let me refresh this. Yeah, so 11 minutes ago, he arrived at the U.S. Capitol with Vice President Harris. Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. Let's see. Do you guys think Trump showed up? So Pence showed up to the inauguration, but did Trump show up? Mitch McConnell and Ellen Cow. Yeah, so everyone's showing up to the Capitol now. I don't think Trump's going to show up. So I mean, we'll see how this plays out. I'll just keep updating, guys, and we'll see where it's at. But other than that, we'll see where everything goes. So let me see if there's anything right here. Varun said US 30 is rallying upwards. Yeah, it's like we discussed earlier. It's probably going to reach the all-time high. I have an alert here shortly, like below it, so that once you reach this point, I'll probably move my stop loss and profit, just to prevent any of any pullback that might happen from that point. But yeah, we got this playing out right here. Other than that, let me go through the chat and then we can continue analyzing the other pairs. So I looked at UJ just right now for a short scene. Next up, we have EG for Mary and we have GU for John. And then I'm also going to go over the intraday strategy that I was discussing with you guys for US 30. Let's see. Trail said, can you explain why CAD/JPY shot you? I'm assuming he meant up, Trail. So I'm going to rephrase your question here. Can you explain why CAD/JPY shot up when Biden rejected the recent pipeline? Was too many people short? So I'll go over to CAD/JPY. Honestly, the market isn't necessarily moving the way it should be. I think there was Canadian news this morning as well. So let me pull up the news real quick. We did have Canadian news right here. I think the main reason for the spike would be their bank rate statement, because they were announcing their bank rate for Canada right here. Yeah, so the Bank of Canada rate decision. So at this point, this is what caused the spike for the most part. I don't think this spike was due to Biden, Trell. I think it was mostly due to the bank rate, because they were setting the rate. So if the rate was low, then obviously if the rate's low, then or high. Sorry, I'm not familiar with like how the rates work, but I know if it goes one way or the other, if it's like high or if it's low, it's going to increase the strength of the currency. So if the Canadian dollar rate was, I guess, high or low, that's what spiked price in this direction. I don't think it was Biden that pushed price that way. It was the Canadian news that pushed it, because this is actually like really important news. It's kind of like with the US bank rates, right? Like, so for the US bank rates, when the bank rates went, the percentage went down, then people were buying houses and stuff like that. So that kind of, stimulated the economy, kind of similar with the Canadian over here as well. I'm assuming they probably, well, I don't know. It's weird because the number is the same, but I'm assuming that people just kind of, the number is the same thing. But I guess people were just betting on it to be good, or they were anticipating it to be lesser than that, whatever was forecasted. And then it just shot up in the other direction. So people ended up buying. So I think this move right here was based off the rate change, which even though it didn't change at all, it was just people that were speculating in the market, whether it was going to be above or below. And I guess people were debating that it was going to be, positive. And that's why it spiked it up right here, because this spiked up pretty heavy. Let's see. Price was just going sideways, and then it spiked from this point right here about 40 pips or 42 pips. So let me see if there's anything else from this point. From this point right here, I mean, we were looking for a buy anyways right here, Trell. I'm not sure why you were looking, or I guess you were basing it off the news. off that pipeline news. But like just looking at basic, you know, our analysis here, we had the rejection off this point right here. We had the buy signal right here. Oops. We had the buy signal right here. And then we had a break in structure right here. So generally, if this happens and I see all this, I would take the buy position and I would write it to the next structure. So I wanted to call this trade, but the reason why I didn't call it is because the next structure was less than 20 pips away, right? So that's why I didn't take it. But I mean, obviously, if you took the trade right here, you would have locked in some profit. You know, it's the same basic strategy that we've been applying, you know, time and time again. So, you know, back to your question. Yeah, I'm not sure if this was affected by that, what you mentioned with like the pipeline, but I think it was mostly based off the Bank of Canada rate decision, which is, it's very high impact. So people are probably speculating this and then ended up pushing price upwards. So let me continue on with these questions over here. Kel said, if we don't hit all-time high in US 30, we could be back in a downtrend, just speculating. I mean, anything could happen really. You know, there's like, for me, like I mentioned, I'm still kind of new to US 30, so I don't know how it moves exactly. I know how it moves on an intraday sense, like if I'm analyzing it from day to day, but analyzing it on a long-term perspective, I don't really analyze it like that. So I wouldn't really know in that situation. So, I mean, yeah, you know, you're speculating that that can come down, Kel, and I'm on both sides of it, right? You know, whether it goes up or goes down long-term or short-term, as long as it fits my requirements for my strategy, I'll continue to take it. But, you know, like we mentioned, anything can really happen at this point, even though like there's suspension down there mentioned, there's no such thing as a downtrend since a few months. Let me just check. Let's look at this on the 4-hour and see how it's been moving. Yeah, so it's been pretty bullish since October. So since October, it's been bullish. It looks like every time it reaches an all-time high, it has like a small little rejection, and then it just continues up further and further. So I'm not sure how it'll play out. Like I mentioned, I don't trade US 30 on a long-term perspective because it just moves too fast. You know, I don't want to. It's just way too much risk for me to trade this like on the 4-hour, because each candle is like, well, some candles are like 10,000 pips, while like some candles are like 5,000 pips, right? So just going back from the other perspective, you know, this is basically what I see from here. It's been bullish since October. And then for me specifically, since I'm just like making my moves within, I'll take trades like up and down depending on where it's going. Okay, so let me see anything over here. Arash is asking, if you don't mind, could you please talk about your journey sometimes? Well, yeah, my journey, I've been trading for like 10 years now. So I traded stocks at the beginning, then I went to options, and then I worked a normal job. So working a normal job, I couldn't trade during the normal hours. So I had to move to Forex. So that's when I started trading Forex, probably maybe about 6 years ago. And then from that point, I just got busy because I was an attorney. So I worked as an attorney. You know, I had a good job. I was getting paid well, but I still like trading. Like trading was always my hobby. And then from that point, that's when I created K² to create the community. And then, you know, that's pretty much it. From that point, here we are. It hasn't been that long, Arash. You know, I've been trading for like 10 years, but K² has only been around for maybe 1 or 2 years. So that's pretty much my journey there. I mean, obviously it goes more into detail, but I'm not gonna bore you guys with those details right now, because obviously we're looking at trades. So, you know, maybe another day, Arash, I'll go more into detail with like my whole journey. But the main gist of it is, you know, I started trading, wasn't profitable until maybe like 2-3 years in, because I never had a mentor. I never took a course. I learned all this stuff on my own. So that's probably why I understand trading a lot more than, you know, other traders who have been trading the same amount of time, because the problem with a lot of other traders is they learn from a specific person, and that specific person doesn't necessarily know how to trade well, right? Anyone can say they're a trade mentor or whatever, but unless like you actually, you know, see what he does like on the daily, if he trades every day and then he shows you what he actually does, and he's not teaching you something that he learned like somewhere else, which could be skewed in one way or another, then, you know, a lot of people who join K², they come and then they come in with like bad knowledge. Like they don't know about risk management. They don't understand like risk toward. They think there's only like one way to trade. And then they bring that bad knowledge to K2, and then that's how they keep making mistakes, because they're not able to unlearn like all the knowledge they learned prior. And then they end up getting stuck in that cycle where they learn K2, and then they go and they implement their old strategies into K2, and then it doesn't work, right? Obviously, because they learned a different way of trading. So, I mean, Arash, I guess it really depends on what you're looking for with your question. Because honestly, my journey has been pretty long. I learned everything on my own from like Google and YouTube. So I literally learned all the good and the bad, and that's pretty much how I got better at trading. It's all pretty much trial and error over time. So let me see if there's anything else here as we continue on. Arash, I'll go back. I'll re-answer your question at another time. Just right now, we're like focused on trade, so I don't want to go into like my personal details right now while we're looking at this stuff. But I'll definitely, maybe I'll make a video just for you to explain like my whole journey so far. But I've been trading for about 10 years now, basically from stocks to options to now Forex and then now indices. So, and here I am with K2. All right, so air suspension said there's no such thing as a downtrend since a few months. So like I just went over that earlier on the higher time frame. We are here on the 4 hour, and like I mentioned, it's been in an uptrend since October. So since October, it's been in an uptrend. Actually, it's been in an uptrend since like March, because so what happened here was, if I go on the daily, so if I go back over here, or actually it's been in an uptrend since like the beginning of time, basically since like 2015, it's been going up. And then it had some small little pullback, then right back up. And then here in March is where the biggest pullback happened because of COVID, right? So COVID made price drop like super heavily. And then from right here on March 20th, price ended up going up ever since then. So price just keeps breaking all-time highs, as we speak and as it continues. And then I think it makes no difference. I think it's going to continue pushing up even further, and then it'll probably break through here. But, like I mentioned, it'll probably pull back and retrace for a bit. But, we'll see how this ends up. Damn, yeah, this thing's moving like crazy right now. So Kel says sentiment for US 30 sellers is going up. So there's a lot of people that are trying to bet. Let me check real quick. So 60% right there. Let's see where it's at now. It's at 64%. Wow. So there's a lot of people here trying to short the market. That means that's even better reason for us to hold this buy, because there's a lot of people here speculating. So it looks like everything is pushing down. Like, I mean, it's obviously going to keep pushing up, because if the shorts keep increasing, they're just going to keep pushing price higher and higher. So it's fine. I see it pulling back a little bit right here, but I think it's going to shoot right back up. Not too worried about it. I'm just going to hold on to it. I'll probably just hold this position as like a longer speculative hold. All right, cool. So Biden's about to get sworn in. I just got an update from CNBC. Let's see if we can pull this up real quick. Examine after bomb threat. So yeah, the bomb threat at the Supreme Court over there. Yeah, so it looks like they're about to get started soon. It's Bill Clinton right there. Everyone's there. Nancy Pelosi. All right, so it looks like the inauguration is about to start. We'll continue and look forward at this shortly. So going back over here real quick, let me see if there's anything else to look at before we go off track with the inauguration. So Radimir said, are we still waiting for a sell signal? So, I mean, yeah, the next signal is going to be a sell signal, Radimir, but we're probably not going to take it because, everything points bullish today. So I'm probably not going to take the sell if it does appear, and I'm probably not going to call it either, because we're all watching this for a bullish move. So the next signal is going to be a sell, but due to the inauguration this morning, we're definitely not going to take that buy. We're probably going to take we're not going to take the sell. We're probably going to hold on to this buy that I was talking about earlier during this session, because I'm in a buy right now, so I don't want to go against my own trade. Let's see. Cities had stepped away for like 40 minutes. Did you take that US 30 live? Yeah, so I'm in this trade right now. city. I took it right here and I'm just holding it for the most part. Yeah, Brune, I thought weren't you were with us earlier, Brune, when I mentioned I took that buy position. So I took that buy a long time ago when I told you guys I was going to take it. So I'm currently in the position already. Let me see if there's anything else here. I haven't looked at EJ yet, CT, so I'll add that to the list as well. So CT wants me to take a look at EuroJPY. Let me see if there's anything else here before we continue on with this. Air Suspension said, guys, the bad news is that there is no key to this game, but the good news is that it was never locked. Exactly, yeah. So like Air Suspension, mentioned, there's really no key to this game. It's evolving every single day. Like literally, that's why I trade every single day, because I get better every day, right? It's not like I just sit around. I'm not like, oh, I figured out this like holy grail strategy and I'm not going to learn anymore. Literally every day when I come on this live with you guys, I'm learning with you guys too. Like you guys see that I'm here teaching, but in reality, I'm learning too, because you guys bring up these topics that I don't really, I'm not thinking like all trading all the time. So if you guys ask me these questions and it's something new to me, then obviously it's going to, it's going to help me learn even more as well. And that's why I come on these live sessions with you guys every day, because we're all here to learn. We're all, even me, I've been trading for 10 years and I'm still learning. I'm sure even Air Suspension here, Air Suspension has been trading for like what, 15, 16 years, but he's still learning too. I'm sure, every day is something new. It's like a puzzle. Like every day you get a puzzle with US 30 and you got to figure out whether the puzzle is going to go up or the puzzle is going to go down. So, that's just how trading is, guys. Like, don't think that you guys will start trading and then you'll never don't think that you learn one strategy and then that's pretty much it. Like every day is like a new day. So like for K2, that's why I create new strategies like every day. If I see patterns in the market, I'll create a new strategy and then I'll share it with you guys. And that's something that I'll be going over later. So I figured out this intraday strategy with US 30 with regard to technical analysis that you guys can start applying. So I'll be going over that later. But other than that, I will continue with the rest of these questions here. So let me see if there's anything else as we continue. Arash said, thanks. Your experience is diamond. Yeah, definitely, Arash. I mean, I've literally learned everything on my own. So if I did that, I mean, it took me a long time. Obviously, it took me years to like actually learn trading, because all I did was use Google and YouTube to learn. And there's a lot of bad info out there. So for me, I learned some good info and I learned some bad info. And then I put that together and then I had shit. And then I went and learned more good info. And then I realized that that other info was bad. So I took that out. And then I just keep reinforcing my knowledge every day, pretty much. Let's see. CT said reality TV. It's what I sent you from last night. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to take a look at that right now, CT. Varun said I wasn't there for half an hour. I think you took it at that time. Yeah, Varun. So basically, earlier this morning, so like at 6:10, I took this buy position right here because Air Suspension mentioned that it's probably going to reach the all-time high, and I agreed with his analysis there. And so that's why I took this position here. So this is the position that I have active right here, but this isn't the daily position. So this is pretty much what we're looking at for US 30. Let me see if there's any updates for the inauguration over here. All right, so no new real updates. I guess they're just waiting for him to get presented. But yeah, last update was 20 minutes ago regarding the Supreme Court bomb threat. Other than that, I think they're just going to be swearing him in a bit. So with that said, let me go ahead and take a look at the pairs here. So Mary wants me to take a look at EG. So I'm going to pull up EG over here. I was thinking about taking the sell right here. Thankfully, I didn't, because look at this spike up right here. But I think it's going to come back down. Obviously, it might reject off this point. I'm going to go ahead and reanalyze this from scratch. I'm going to take everything off the chart, delete that. We have a naked chart right here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the K2SRs and redraw my zones on the chart for you guys. So we got a zone up there. We've got a zone right there. Zone right there. Zone right there. And zone right here. And a lot of people ask me, what's so important about these K2SR levels? And the importance of this is that they're able to help train your eye to see what to mark up, right? Because the problem with people drawing zones is that they draw them in the wrong areas all the time. Wait, why do I get alert on US 30? Oh, it's a swing down. That's so weird. They changed the alert button here on TradingView. It's a brand new button. But yeah, mentioning, going back to what I mentioned earlier with these zones help you identify areas of rejection and points of entry. So like, for example, here, price broke structure. If you were to take this trade right here for a short, you could have rode this down for some profit, right? So on top of that, we turn on the momentum indicator to identify the direction of momentum right here. So looking at this right here, let me get the lower zones because we don't have one below where price currently is at. So see, I'll just draw this right here. And then we need a lower one to see where possible rejection points are. Sorry, wrong one, weekly. All right, so the next zone is actually way down here. So it's got a long way to go. I'm gonna go back on the 4-hour, hide that off the chart. K2SR, hide that. All right, cool. So we have everything set up right here. What I see here is I see a continuing downtrend, right? Because for example, here we have a rejection. So this is where the high started. The high started way up here, and then it just kept establishing lower highs as price continued to go down lower and lower, right? So high, lower high, lower high, another lower high right here, and then a rejection from this point. So we have a rejection off this point. We have a double top, right? Price pretty much ranged within this point. It rejected twice right here for a double top, and then it was followed by a sell signal right here. So looking at EG over here, what we would anticipate is for price to drop from this point right here. So this is pretty much the markup that we would have for EG. Obviously, you know, it went into profit slightly, and then now it's in some slight drawdown. The good thing about this is that price, the next structure is way down here. So what I expect to happen here is price is probably going to reject off this point, shoot back into profit. This could probably reach all the way down to here to test this structure right here. Because if you go back and look at previous data, so every time this happens where we have a rejection, right? Rejection, sell signal, and then what happens? It comes down and tests this structure down here. Same situation right here, rejection, sell signal, and what happens? It comes down and tests this structure down here. So same situation over here. We have a rejection, sell signal, a break in structure right here. So we anticipate this to come down and test this structure down here. So you guys can see how easy it is to analyze this, you know, once you have these K2 indicators. And this goes both ways. Like for example, here we have these sells right here, right? But vice versa, if you want to look in the opposite direction, you don't have to just take sells. Like for example, here we have a rejection off this point. We have a buy signal right here. And then what happens from this point? It pushes up to this structure way up here, right? So it pretty much just repeats itself. It does everything back and forth. And the same thing, this makes no difference, right? It's the same thing right here, same pattern, rejection, sell signal, break in structure, and then it'll probably continue down further to this point down here eventually. So if you do want to enter this trade, you could possibly enter like a sell stop right here, and then it'll probably drop from that point. So that's pretty much what we see happening right there. Other than that, I think that's about it for this one right here. Let's see. Mary said, thank you, agreed. Looks like it's doing a retest. Exactly, Mary. So you're 100% positive with identifying that, right? So what I see happening right here is price broke structure, came down slightly. It's retesting structure. So it's basically a basic break and retest pattern, right? Price broke structure, it's retesting. And then I anticipate it to reject off this point and continue down further. So very smart with identifying that, Mary. That was a good identification. And it's playing out exactly how, you know, we analyzed right here. So if you're in a sell, or if you're thinking about entering a sell, I think you can place the sell stop right here at 0.88582. And then I probably wouldn't, you know, put your TP that low, or I mean, if you want to, as price comes back down, you can move your stop loss in profit and then continue riding it down as it makes that slow move down. Because the thing with EG is that it's a slow moving pair, right? So it's probably not going to hit this point until like maybe a couple of weeks from now. But you know, eventually it'll probably continue down that far unless it creates, you know, new structure. So it'll probably create structure right here, or it doesn't matter, right here or down here. And then what will happen is it'll just repeat itself. You know, it'll break structure, retest, and then come back down further. So just keep that in mind. But I mean, you know how it is, Mary. You've been here for a bit, so you understand how we analyze this. But it looks like it's going to play out exactly how you also identified it as well. So that's it for EG right there. Let's move on to the next one. So we've got EG right here. Next up, we have GU for John. Let me see if there's anything else that I missed. Yeah, exactly. So CT mentioned ping pong trading. That's that's exactly how Forex moves pretty much on the 4-hour time frame. So basically it's like CT mentioned ping pong trading. Like it rejects off this point, it's like a ping, rejects off this point, pong, ping pong. It's literally just bouncing back and forth. And your like main goal here is to catch that little movement, right? You want to catch it as it ping pongs from here to down here, and it'll ping pong back up from this point. And then you can just pretty much catch it again at that area as well. So it looks pretty good for the most part. And yeah, that's pretty much it for EG. So next up we have GU. GU right here. Looks like price never came down from this point. So, or it's finally coming down, right? So I said it was going to reject at some point here. It didn't reject at this point. It actually rejected from this point. So it might be coming down. But I'm going to go ahead and analyze this from scratch to show you guys exactly what I mean. But going back to what CT said, ping pong trading, that's exactly what's happening here as well. Price comes down, it rejects off this point, comes up, rejects off this point, and it just bounces back and forth. And if you're able to identify these right here, which it's not that difficult, if you're able to identify this, you can make so much money just trading from like rejection from this point all the way up here, like 300 pips, rejection from this point all the way down here. See, another 200 pips. It's an easy way to trade, and it's the only way that I trade for Forex. Well, now, before I used to trade other ways, but now this is the only way I trade and the only strategy I apply for all the signals. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete everything off the chart. Take that off the chart. We got a naked chart right here. I'm gonna turn on the K2SRs, and then I'm gonna go ahead and analyze this from this point. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my zones. Use kind of a messy pair right now because of everything that's going on, but we still got some pretty solid zones right there. So I'm going to turn this off, and then you guys can see right here that we have some perfectly drawn zones where price pretty much ping pongs, all throughout. So looking at GU right here, I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator, so we can determine, the direction of momentum. Right here, obviously we have a bullish bias because the most recent signal was a buy right here. But looking at this over here, so price is rejected from this point. We're probably going to get a sell signal at some point down here. And then if price breaks below structure, like right here, oh man, what did I do? Yeah, so if price breaks below structure right there, we can enter a short position at this point and pretty much just write it down to the, obviously the next structure down here for about 100 pips. So this is basically what I see happening here. It's kind of similar to what happened right here as well. So right here, we have a rejection from this point. We have a sell signal right here. And then what happens from that point, it drops down to this structure right here before rejecting off and continuing back here for a retrace. And on top of that, we have a double top here, actually. So we have a double top. We have a rejection from this point, rejection from this point. So if we get that sell signal, then I can anticipate a nice drop. It actually rejected from this point a lot of times. Another time right here, rejection, sell signal. And then what happens is it consolidates a bit before it ends up dropping down here. Right, same pattern. And it just always repeats itself. So example here again, rejection, sell signal, straight down there. So if you took all these trades here, this would have been like 160 pips, about 60 pips, 113 pips. Again, right here, if we have a sell signal, write that down for another 130 pips right there. So that's pretty much what I see happening here for GU. It's just the same pattern repeating itself over and over again. That's just, it's pretty much how I analyze it. So that's what I see happening for GU right there. But like I mentioned, with the inauguration happening right now, there is a lot that can happen. I mean, whether it be good, whether it be bad. Let's see. So 8 minutes ago, it says dark money organizer of rally that led to riot looks to cheer on Trump in Florida. So I guess people are still a dark money group helped to organize the rally. So it looks like this is pretty funny. I mean, I have nothing wrong with this, but I just find it to be funny right here. It's like on our way to welcome President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania home to Palm Beach. What an incredible ride, President, Mr. President. There we go. President Trump leaving the White House, making his way all the way back to Florida, Palm Beach, Florida. Look at these. Oh man, this is funny. All the responses right here, replies. You got the Soldier Boy gif going on right there. All right, so that's about it for that. But yeah, his inauguration is still going on right now. I think that's the latest update. So as it continues to update, I'll keep checking, guys. But other than that, I mean, there's not really going to be much to look at right now. So let's see if there's anything else here that we can see before we continue on. Ezra said, we could see a good entry in 2 hours time. Yeah, exactly. Once the candle closes, it's 8 o'clock right now. So the next 4-hour candle closes in about 1 hour and 40. So in about 1 hour and 40, we can determine, which direction to trade things. But other than that, we're probably just going to be sitting tight and waiting for, some sort of confirmation before we decide to take anything else. Yeah, like CC mentioned over here in markets like this, take quick profit both ways. Don't get married to a direction. Like I said, reality TV. Did you see Trump pardon death row records executive? Oh, dang, I didn't see that. I did see that he pardoned a ton of people. Let me see if I could find it on CNBC real quick. So he did pardon like a huge list of people here. I mean, I don't even think he listed everything here. Little rapper. Yeah, so Lil Wayne got pardoned. I can see why. What she mentioned with that CT with Death Row Records. So Lil Wayne got pardoned. Oh wow. Okay, so Kodak Black got his prison term commuted. It's funny because I never really see all these like presidents don't usually do this, but Trump literally on his way out, he just like pardoned like everyone he could think of. He issued 73 pardons. Damn, that's great. It's a lot of people. Basically everyone here. Yeah, wow. He pardoned ex-Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick. He had a 28-year prison sentence for fraud. He pardoned Kodak Black. So he's going to be out soon, looks like. Trump did not issue a pardon to himself or any of his adult children, despite speculation he would do so. So despite the lack of pending federal. Yeah, he pardoned a lot of people last night. So yeah, he literally listed all these people. He has a lot of people he pardoned. So we'll see how this affects the market. I'm not sure if it'll affect it in any way, but we'll just see how it plays out from that point. All right, cool. So looking at this over here, US 30 is still bouncing back up. So I'm not too worried about it. So if you guys were looking for the entry today, it would be the sell signal right here. But like I mentioned, we're not going to take a sell because of how the market's moving today and because I'm in a buy. So I wouldn't want to go against my own trade, obviously. So I still have my buy running. And I don't really recommend taking the sell just yet because, I mean, who knows how the market will move, within the next couple hours or so. Because I definitely think there's going to be a couple whipsaws going on. So let's see. Other than that, I think that's it for the questions, guys. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'll be going over the new intraday strategy that I've been, testing and been applying for US 30, which I'm probably not going to release to you guys anytime soon. I still have a lot of testing to do, but I'll just show you guys what I'm looking for when I take these specific trades. So basically what I look for first is I look for a rejection off structure. And then I try to see if it's followed by, you know, some sort of signal, like a sell signal or a buy signal. It has to be a clean rejection off the point, obviously. And then it has to be followed by a nice buy or sell signal, right? So I use it on the 30-minute chart. I'll show you an example right here. So we have a zone down here. And I'll just show you how I would have analyzed this from this point. So obviously right here, we have the zones. So you can see we have this buy signal right here. We have the zone right here. So I drew my zone right over it, right there. I'm going to hide the K2SR zones. Oh, sorry, wrong one. So hit the K2SR zones right there. So basically the way that I do this is if I see a nice rejection off this point, so I'll just identify rejection points, like, for example, right here, we have a nice rejection right here. One rejection right there. We have another nice rejection right here. So we have two rejections right here, and then it's followed by a strong bullish buy signal. So when that happens right there, I enter a long position right here. I put my stop loss like slightly below the previous, like either the swing, which would be right here, or below the structure, which would be down here. So if I put it right here, my stop loss would be at about 90 pips. I would just round it up. So 90 pips right here, because it swings at 82 pips. I round it down to 90 pips, or I can place it down here where it would be about 1,000, or it'd be, 1,120 pips, but I'd move it down to maybe like 1,200 pips. Or if I wanted to move it down here for about 130 pips, I'll just pull it down to 140. So your stop loss will vary depending on where you want to put it, depending on your risk, but my TP will stay at 1,500 pips because that's a sweet spot for intraday moves. So for example here, it's really simple: rejection from this point, rejection from this point, confirmation of a nice rejection, followed by a bullish candle right here, indicating a momentum swing upwards, right? So if you were to identify that, and I set up my parameters like this right here, I'd probably put my stop loss a little closer because I like to have a little cushion, but not too much cushion, just in case. So like, for example, I put my stop loss right there. It'd be a 90 to 150 risk to reward. So right there, I let this play out. And what do you know? Full TP. So that's pretty much the intraday strategy that I've been applying. It's super simple. I'll show you guys another example here. Let me turn on the K2SRs. So this is an invalid signal. I wouldn't have taken it. This is another entry right here as well, actually. So let me go ahead and draw my little rectangle right here. So you can use that too. And we have another zone down here as well. So you can definitely draw like two zones if you want to have extra confirmation. Obviously the more confirmation, the better. But looking at this here, I'm going to hide the K2SR indicator. And I'm just going to rewind it to this candle over here so I can show you guys exactly what I was looking for. So right here, we have, this is the main confirmation. We have the rejection right here off the structure. And price can't be below the structure, right? It has to reject like within the structure, it can't close below it. Like the wick can go below it, but we want the body to be above the structure so that it can confirm a strong rejection. So you can see right here, we have a very nice rejection off this point, right? This rejection is about a 500 to 600 pips right there. Nice rejection followed by a buy signal right there, indicating a momentum swing upwards, right? Because these vertical lines indicate momentum swings in both directions. So for example, here we have the rejection. This is a better confirmation because you can see it's establishing higher lows. So we have the low here. If you want to use this as a confirmation, we have the low here. It comes up, and then here's the high. The lower high right here, followed by a bullish candle at this point. You do the same thing, enter a long position right there. TP's at about 1,500 pips, the sweet spot, and your stop loss will be slightly below the swing or the structure. So the swing structure right here is about 105. We're gonna move that down to 110. And then from this point, we let it run. And it does go sideways for a bit before it ends up swinging up to full TP right there, right? So you guys can see how easy the strategy is and pretty much how I apply it for the most part. So this is basically, how I would apply the strategy. Maybe I could find one more example to show you guys before we move forward. But if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat because I think we're pretty much done for questions today. So here's another example up here. you guys can see that we had that zone. I'm going to turn off the K2SRs. Then I'm going to go ahead and rewind to this point over here. So same exact situation over here. You can see that this is a nice resistance, right? You can see price hasn't really broke this resistance in a while. Looking at this point over here, we have the rejection from this point. We have the sell signal right here. And we're going to do the same thing we did with the other positions. Enter a short position right here. Stop loss above the swing or the structure. It's at about 74, right? So I'm going to round that up to 80. So that's 800 pip stop loss for a 1500 pip profit right there. So example right here, we let that run, and what do you know, full TP again. So you guys can see how simple that is and how you know, applicable it is if you guys understand what to look out for. The reason why I'm not really releasing this yet is because it's a subjective strategy. You know, not everyone understands how to identify these rejection points. And these rejection points have to be identified using the K2SR indicator, so you guys have proper rejection points on the chart. But yeah, I mean, you guys can see how simple it is and how easy it is to apply. And, you know, obviously, if you guys have the indicators, you guys can easily apply this yourself and make a ton of profit trading something like US 30. And this doesn't necessarily work only for US 30. It works for all assets. It's just, I like using US 30 because it actually moves fast and it's worth a lot more. So US 30 is definitely going to be like my favorite asset to trade. So most of my strategies are going to be based off US 30 because we already have a strategy for Forex and it works pretty well. So there's really no need in fixing something that isn't broken. And that's why I'm going to continue using, you know, the same strategies we've been applying for Forex. And I'm going to be creating new strategies for US 30 because obviously US 30 is one of my favorite assets to trade now. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the questions. I don't see anything else here. If you guys haven't already, if you guys can go ahead and like the stream, if you guys haven't already, I mean, that'd definitely help, you know, this channel continue to grow, and it'll allow me to continue to come on this live stream with you guys. Cause obviously, you know, I have a lot of other things that I can be doing right now, taking my own trades, obviously, you know, running through the mentoring sessions or helping the premium members. But since I want to help you guys here, as long as we continue to keep growing this channel, I'll continue to keep coming on live for you guys every morning and give you guys free advice pretty much. So if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like the stream and follow the YouTube channel, then I'll continue to come on these live streams for you guys every morning where, you know, we can trade together. I can give you guys advice and we can continue on with learning here. Let me see the chat real quick to see if there's anything else that you guys are looking for. Talanji said, no wonder you don't use fib. You already got it. Respect. Yeah, no, definitely, bro. That's why I don't use fibs because I just don't need it, right? I mean, obviously you can use fibs if you like to use them, but me personally, I don't really need them because I already have, you know, I already have my style of trading. So that's why I personally don't use them. But if you like to use them, there's nothing wrong with using them as long as you know how to use them properly. But all right, guys, so I think that's it. I don't have any other questions here. You know, obviously we have the inauguration. I'm probably going to watch it on my big TV in the living room. So that's probably why I'm going to go offline for a bit. I'm going to go to my living room and watch the inauguration happen. But yeah, other than that, I think that's about it. I still have my US 30 trade running, which is fine. I'm just going to let that run pretty much all day and see how it plays out. But other than that, I think I'm going to just log off for a bit. I have a bunch of Telegram messages and text messages to respond here. I also have about, let's see, geez, okay, I have about like 50 emails to get through as well. I have a ton of messages here to get through, guys. So I'm going to get through all of these questions over here. So if you guys have questions, just reach out to me on Telegram or through email or, you know, any other source that you guys want to reach me from. But I'm probably just going to hang out and watch the inauguration on my TV in the living room. And then I'll keep looking out for trades. So the next 4-hour trades are going to come out for Forex in about an hour and a half. Let's see. We have about, wait, where's the counter at? Okay, we have about an hour and 30 minutes left on the 4-hour candle right here. I'm just going to scan through these real quick to see if there's any possible entries that we'll be looking for. Nothing there. We're basically looking for price to break structure and close so that we can possibly take, you know, a trade right there. So like, for example, here, if this closes above the structure right here, let me show you guys. If this closes above the structure right here, we can take a long position right there and pretty much ride that up. So I have it highlighted right there. Again, right here for CAD CHF, but this is a problem because this is a big candle. So we might not take that. Other than this, you guys can see, if you look at every market, there's like huge candles and huge wicks. So this will just hint to you that, it's probably not a good time to trade right now because, wow, look at this right here. I should call this trade. I was going to call this morning for EA. Unfortunately, I didn't because of, obviously how the market's moving. Came down pretty heavy from that point. Wow, so like this morning it dropped. Yeah, it dropped pretty nice. 167 pips. So I'm just gonna mark up these charts here to see if I, find anything. But I think we're probably gonna hold off on taking any trades until after the inauguration. Or I might call a late call here because Mary had a really nice call for this one, or identification for this trade. So this looks like this could actually be a pretty nice trade right here. I might call that. That's probably be the only one that I'm really looking at right now. Let me just look at the index right here for the Euro index and the pound index. So it looks like the pound is strong, the Euro is weak. So, I'm actually going to call this trade right here. Let me just call it for you guys real quick before I log off. And if you guys want to take the trade yourself, feel free. So we have this right here. I'm just going to call this for you guys. And thanks, Mary, for bringing this, trade to my attention because I wasn't really looking at it until you mentioned it, but it does look like a good trade. So I'm going to delete everything on the chart to clean it up. And then I'll probably just set this up as a sell stop. So let me go, I'm going to set my own trade right here as well. Oops, wrong button. So I got my trade right here. You guys can see I'm taking it on my live account. I got about 60 bucks. Oh no, 60 pips right there. I'm gonna take a big risk on this one. Guys, don't take 10% risk, right? I'm just taking it because I'm very confident about this trade. This is my risk account. So I just take my risky trades on this account. But obviously this is like my funded Forex account. And then I'll see how this plays out. So I'm gonna call the signal for you guys here as well. So we got that there. Let me go ahead and enter this right here, sell stop. I'm calling this trade for you guys here. Euro GBP. Have my pending sell stop right there already ready to go. And the reason why I'm calling this trade now is because this is it's a late entry. It's not a current time entry. All right, so I call that in the premium for you guys right there. Looks like we're pretty much good to go for the most part. Nice. So CT over here hit some. So that's the EN we talked about the other day, right? Definitely. So yeah, like CT mentioned, I said TP way too soon, but with the markets evolving, you need to take that profit 100%. So that looks good. This actually ties in with our position over here because this indicates a weak Euro, which is kind of what we see over here. Also, the Euro index right here is pretty weak as well. So they all tie in pretty well with each other. And I think that should be good. So let me go ahead and set the alerts real quick for EG before I move forward. Because I know I'm going to forget. This is going to be TP115. TP2. We got TP3 over here, full TP, 60 pips. All right, so I got that set up right there. Let me get the stop loss set up as well. Oh, and one last thing, I gotta put the filled alert as well because we have a pending position. All right, so I got my alert set up. Everything's good. I think we're good to go for the most part. Let me see if there's anything else here before we continue real quick. So we have this for sell. Okay, my bad. So one thing, guys, let me analyze your JPY because I didn't get a chance to analyze this for CT. My bad, bro. I totally missed your question over there. So I'm going to analyze this from scratch, take everything off the chart. And I'll do this really quick so you guys can see exactly how quickly you guys can analyze these charts just by having these indicators handy. Like a lot of people don't like indicators, but here's the thing, guys. If you guys are looking for something in the market, like you're literally the indicator, right? So why wouldn't you want to make things easy on yourself to basically program an indicator to identify what you're looking for, right? Because I can analyze these zones without this indicator because I created this indicator. So in order to save time, instead of me looking like, oh, is this a support? Is this a resistance? Is this a resistance? Where am I going to plot my lines? I created an algorithm to identify that for me. So instead of me having to guess where the support and resistance are, I just turn this on and there you go. I have everything set up. So once I have that, instead of drawing all these small support and resistance, I could just connect my own big ones and I have everything perfectly lined up there, right? Look at these zones perfectly lined up. So a lot of people don't like indicators, but usually the people that don't like indicators are people that don't know, they don't understand indicators and they don't realize that you can create your own indicators. Like I created these from scratch. This is from my thought process. It's not something that, I'm using someone else's indicator. I literally created this on my own to save me time. So I don't have to go and figure out where the support and resistances are, right? Because obviously if you're looking at this here and you're just trying to figure out where it is on your own, this is going to be difficult for you to identify where the support and resistance is, right? Having this algorithm, I'm able to identify this is support, this is support, this is resistance, this is resistance. So it saves a lot of time on my end, so I can analyze all of these pairs here, and that's how I'm able to call these trades like all day and quickly because these indicators help me identify this important structure on the chart. So looking at this here, I turn on the momentum indicator over here, and I know me and CT talked about this week, and we did see this coming down. So like for example, right here, we had the rejection from this point. We had another rejection from this point. We had a sell signal right here. Another rejection from this point. Sell signal right here. And then what happens when we get the sell signal? Obviously, price is going to, you get in a short position right there, ride it to the structure right here for about 50 pips. Because what happens when price breaks structure? The same thing happens over and over again, right? Rejection, sell signal, break in structure. What happens? It comes down and tests this structure right here. Rejection, sell signal. What happens here? It comes down and tests this structure right here. Then what happens when it reaches this point? Two things can happen. Price can either break this structure and continue down further, or price can do what it did right here, reject off this point and swing up, right? It's the same thing over and over again. So like right here, price reaches this point, it can reject off this point and swing back up, or it can break below and continue down further. So yes, ET, going back to EJ, my bad for like missing your analysis over here. Let me go ahead and take a look at our chat. Yep, so like check this out. CT sent me this chart yesterday of that drop, right? He identified exactly what I identified as well. Well, he identified a divergence. So he identified a divergence in price. So I also identified that, but like just by looking at the chart, because right here, obviously price came up, and then as it swung down like this would have been the divergence when price reverses from this point, rejection off that point, and then it swings down. So CT's analysis right here lines up perfectly with what I identified right here as well. I identified the rejection. It lines up with his analysis of the divergence right here. And then we both looked at the same thing for price to come down and possibly test the structure and break or reject off it. So you guys can see right here that, obviously this makes a huge difference if you guys have these indicators, because it helps you identify things that you probably wouldn't be able to identify with your naked eye. Especially if you're a brand new trader, you probably wouldn't be able to identify this because this is all new to you. For me, I've been trading for like 10 years, so I can identify this without the indicators, but the indicators make things so much easier where I don't have to actually put in the work, right? Because the thing is, I already know how to look for it. So this gives me that full confirmation. It's like, oh, if I see it with my eyes and then I turn on the indicator and it's also there, obviously it's going to be 100%. So that's pretty much it for EJ right there. Let's see if there's anything else that we could see over here as well. Peter said, Shawn, you need to hire a secretary. Yeah, exactly, right? Got too many questions coming in all throughout the day. All right, Cassian wants me to take a look at GA real quick. So let me pull up GA before we continue. I think I analyzed it earlier already, so I might have it marked up from earlier this morning. So GA is right here. Yeah, so looking at GA right here, I'm going to go ahead and delete everything off the chart. I'll do everything for you guys again from scratch. Super simple. So here's the naked chart. Zoom out from that point, turn on the K2SRs. And then from here, I'm going to go ahead and draw my zones on the chart for you guys. So we got that right there. That right there. That right there. And then we got that down there as well. So yeah, having these zones on the chart right here, turn on the momentum indicator. Obviously right here, we have a buy signal. So our bullish, our bias is a buy right here. We had a rejection from this point. We had a buy signal right here. And then what happened from that point, it pushed up all the way to this point over here, right? For like 120 pips, 130 pips. So we have another rejection of, zoom out from this point. We have another rejection that's come up from this point over here. So what we're anticipating is, price is going to either, so this is what's going to happen here. We have a rejection from this point. We have another rejection right here. Why does the thing like resize like that? All right, there we go. Let me zoom in now. All right, so like for right here, we have a rejection from this point, buy signal. It pushed up from that point to here, rejected from this point right here, came back down, and then rejected off this point. So what could happen from this point here is we still have a bullish bias, right? Because we have a buy signal right here. What can happen is price can reject off this point and shoot back up to here. That's scenario number one. Scenario number two is we get a sell signal. It keeps pushing down to here. And then it continues dropping from that point, Cassian. So if you see that right there, there's two different scenarios that can play out for GA. Obviously we still have a bullish bias because we have this buy signal right here. We haven't had a sell signal appear yet. So if that happens, price will likely reject off this point and shoot up to this point over here. So like two obvious scenarios right there. But this is probably what I see happening for GA over here, Cassian. This is pretty much, that's pretty much what I see happening right here for this point. And this is going to go hand in hand with our EG position as well, right? Because for EG over here, we want price to be going upwards for this one as well, because we want the pound to be strong. So if the pound is strong, it's going to push up. If the pound is strong here, then it's going to be beneficial for our EG over here. So just keep that in mind for these two positions over here. And this is kind of what I see happening from this point. Another thing I can do for that is I can pull up the pound index over here and the Aussie index over here. You can see that they're both overall bullish, but the pound is very strong, this nice bullish candle right here, while the Aussie index is actually pulling down slightly. So if that happens and the pound is stronger than the Aussie, then you can see this push up from that direction moving forward. So that's pretty much what I see happening for GA right here. All right, cool. So I think that's it for the questions. Let me see if there's anything else before we continue. Otherwise, I will be logging off for the day, and I'll be looking for trades in the next hour and a half. Meanwhile, I'm going to be watching the they're swearing in right here, and then we will continue on with this further. I'm still so shocked that Trump isn't at the inauguration. That's freaking crazy. But yeah, I'm going to pull this up on my TV in the living room, and I'm going to go watch it. Other than that, guys, I think that's about it for today. Hopefully you guys pulled some value from this webinar. On your way out, guys, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like the stream and subscribe to the YouTube channel, that'll definitely help us continue to grow this channel. And I can continue to come on for these live sessions for you guys daily every morning. So other than that, hopefully you guys got your help today. I If you guys have any questions, just reach out to me on Telegram or through email or through the course, or, you guys know how to reach me. Other than that, I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning, and I'll be in the Telegram chat throughout the day as we look for new entries as the next 4-hour candle closes in about an hour. So until then, guys,